Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. We're gonna have a look at the weekly insurance registration numbers in China. Remember that usually when we talk about these numbers, remember these weekly numbers that I graph for you on this big chart here. This is following from the start of the year essentially. Blue again Tesla, and then the green one is LiAuto. Then we have Nio in white and Xpeng in green or orange, you could say. And I've been like following this, and there's always trends. You can see that as we went through, April and May, LiAuto did really strong, and Tesla started to struggle a little bit, as well as Nio kind of climbing up. And now lately, I would say that LiAuto is kind of struggling a little bit, although it's not bad. I'm not saying that they're doing bad. It's just like they're not necessarily gaining any more momentum as they would have been doing, let's say, compared to last year. Whereas we have Tesla, it's kind of, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, they are not, taking any huge kind of steps forwards in China, let's be honest. They've been, hovering around these kind of numbers for the longest of times. But it's still nice to see that they are delivering at least at the 17 or 16,000 quite often now. Then we have Nio and Xpeng, and recently, due to Mona 3 from Xpeng, the sedan, the cheap sedan that everyone seems to want, we can see now, I believe this should be technically their record week. Well, we had 1 week in, I think this is week 39 in late September, but that one is a bit odd because they didn't report the numbers the following week, so you could argue that they kind of pulled in demand for the following week. But especially for Nio, we can see that numbers are, I would say, at 4,000 for Nio Classic, and then we had 1,300 for Onvo. Onvo ramp up is okay-ish, I would say. I mean, 1,300 in 1 week. Maybe next week, hopefully, we get to 15, 1,600. I would call it that. I would call that as of, let's say, okay. I would have expected maybe in best case scenario a little bit more. And looking at the stock price, let's be honest, folks. I mean, look, you know me. I've been rooting for Nio for the longest of times. I just think that since the last 6 months, I at least try to understand this company, maybe not from the investor's perspective, but rather from the company's survivability. And I think they're definitely gonna be here for the longest of times. But if you want to invest your money, I think there are better investments out there in terms of at least short term. Long term, we might be wrong, but here we are again. This is what the 1900th time we see this stock kind of rally, and then just giving you a absolute slap in the face. I mean, now we went from, I don't know, 3 to 7 US dollar not long ago in August or so, in late October, even early October, and then we're back to close to 4.3, and possibly you could say see us go down below 4. Hopefully not, but that's the reality, guys. That is the reality. Remember, a couple of weeks ago I told and spoke about Xpeng. It's a very, very nice comparison that we can always make. Now, Xpeng over the past, let's say, month has kind of started to lose some of the momentum. If you look at the past month, it started very strong at almost 12 and a half, almost 13 US dollar, and now we are now at let's say 11.3. So we are a little bit down, especially if you zoom out a little bit, you can see that we kind of started to gain momentum. Seems to kind of be heading down to at least 11 or 10 US dollar. So it's not that Nio is necessarily only one doing bad, right? Problem is, the difference. Look, on a bad day today, Xpeng is down 2%, Nio is down 6.8%. And that's just, if you don't go up, if the stock doesn't go up when everyone else goes up, but then you go down a lot when everyone else also goes down, this is what you get. The 52-week low for Nio is essentially, we are very close to that. Whereas Xpeng, it kind of ran a bit when the other stocks kind of also went up a little bit. And now as the kind of stock goes down a little bit, they had a little bit of a headroom. They're still well above, their 52-week low. And that's, my friends, I think is down to the CEO. I know that you don't agree with me, a lot of you, but this is my honest view. I don't want to lie to you. I think that it's just, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense. We can see that also Bitcoin has kind of skyrocketed over the past year. And why I'm talking about Bitcoin is not that I'm gonna, pivot into Bitcoin, but if you look at, let's say, my watch list here, I've got a bunch of companies, and I think one interesting thing that I'm gonna do going onwards now is to engage with you people out there and see, what are the up and coming nice 5 or 10 or even 100 baggers, if they are on this list, or if you could look at something else. Recently I've kind of went in fairly heavy into hims and hers, as well as Sophie over the past, let's say, 2 years. Problem with that is that I've been focusing on the automotive and the semiconductor space on my channel, and I don't necessarily feel that I have the knowledge to look into hims and hers, and especially Sophie. I understand Sophie's platform is, you could essentially just see the membership increase, and that's essentially all you need to know. Same with hims and hers, number of users going up. So maybe I don't know what would you guys like me to maybe start to follow on Hims and Sophie, or any other kind of stocks that you feel has potential for the future? And I think to finish just the automotive segment on this video, which is mostly focused on automotive, we can see that finally the lithium carbonate price seems to kind of gain a little bit upwards momentum. But then the moment you zoom out, you can see that it's nothing. It's went from 70 or 60,000, 58,000 to now 78. Maybe, yeah. Let's say from 72,000 to almost 90 or 80. But again, look at the drop off that we've been talking about, and this will obviously be seen in the margins of the electric vehicle car manufacturers. Any other news? I don't think so. I'm just gonna say that my next video is probably gonna be looking at AMD. I do feel that that's a great opportunity. Remember, I'm not talking about AMD in terms of a 10x from here. That journey has already sadly passed. But I think if you're more looking to balance your portfolio a little bit with let's say one more stable company that you're probably guaranteed they're gonna survive the next 10 years, and you're looking at to find them in a fairly low valuation. Now remember, AMD is not cheap in terms of price to earnings ratio. I understand that. But if you're following me, you know that that's a little bit of a lie. If you just only look at the GAAP net income for AMD, you should look at also at the non-GAAP, and then as well look at the growth rate that they present. I think AMD's revenue is gonna explode as we go into the second half of 2025, and they're already gearing up. So I think this price is gonna be a nice. I think this price, this company is really worth it. But yeah, so for more on that tomorrow on my video on AMD. But I think when it comes to Nio, again, long term, nothing has changed. This company will definitely survive, and I have no doubt about it. But this is the reality of the thing. The management have decided that short-term pain, and to be honest, when we're talking short-term pain, in Nio's case, we're talking multiple years, probably half a decade. And who's to say that they're not gonna, burn money for at least 3 or 4 years from now on as well? Who knows? This management seems to, the moment they get a little bit cash, they try to do whatever. It could be a new phone or whatever. I think I would like to them to be a little bit more focused, less kind of products and more focus on sell the actual stuff that you have. Question is, why do we need like a quadrillion different models when other companies seems to do just fine with much fewer models? And this is going into the R&D cost and the SG&A and all this kind of stuff. I think Nio is a little bit bloated. Let's be honest. I think Nio is a little bit bloated. Also in the infrastructure that I've been really hammering on over the past month, I would say everything is in their hands. They could easily, honestly, if you give this stock to this company to Elon Musk, I wouldn't be surprised if he cut the headcount by a substantial amount, and slow down on the battery swap stations, and the SG&A become more effective. This company could easily 4, 5, 6x in 1 year. All you need to slow down on the expense. But sadly, that's not the case. So if you're gonna continue to invest in Nio, you have to be understanding of that reality. And for all we know, this company could go sideways for at least half a year from now on as well. It all depends on the up and coming earnings. Every earnings, I'm kind of hoping, this should be the one. This should be the one where they kind of start to become a little bit more lean and think about how much net loss or net income they have. And as you can see, when I zoom in on row 26, there you see the net loss of Nio. At let's see here for Q3, and we had at 700 and almost 720. Sorry, row 30 there, net loss. You can see that row 30 we had 721 million net loss, which is going in the wrong direction. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today. Please engage in the discussion, and I would really love to see which kind of companies you want me to look into more in detail. I think one option for me is to actually start to really follow hims and hers, and maybe even Sophie. But I think for the moment I should pick one, continue do videos on Nio. Of course, that's something I really like that company, so I will continue to do that. And then feel free to give any advice if you want me to follow any single company more in detail. So thank you for watching, thank you for your time, thank you for your amazing comments, and see you in the next one.